Leo, hey, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at your energy for the next week or so via the tarot, astrology, any channeled messages that come through. And I'll also incorporate Ayurvedic or holistic wellness practices that you can incorporate into your own daily living to help optimize your potential, your well-being, and overall wholeness, mind, body, soul. So let's get into it. I hope that you're doing well this week, Cancer. Or no, sorry, Leo. I was just going to say happy new moon in Cancer. It's happening today as we speak. And, new moon energy is very positive. It's very hopeful in the way that it gives us an opportunity to set our intentions, to take a minute to reevaluate our life, what's working, what's not, and what needs readjusting, and then actually setting intention in order to make that manifest. New moon in Cancer does focus on home, family, that which we have to nourish, support, sustain ourselves throughout our life. We have to have a strong foundation from which to work from before we can really step into our power, our success. Yes, definitely hardship, challenge, struggle does help us overcome. It helps us dive deep. But there's also this element of support that is so necessary and important, whether that's support within yourself or support from your environment around you. We can't always force people to show up for us. It's the nature of the beast, but we can always show up for ourselves, right? And so that's what I do like about this Cancer new moon. It's not the easiest new moon, I'm not gonna lie. There is some tension that comes along with it. And that's not specifically unusual because Cancer season's been a little emotional. It's been a little bit on the sensitive side. We're taking things personally, even if people aren't intending to, or sometimes, we can see what they're really intending, what they're really meaning, reading between the lines all too easily. So the element of where change is being required is a focus on self. And there's a lot of tension around that, tension around what we want things to be, how that fantasy illusion plays out in our life, and whether or not we'll actually do the hard work necessary in order to make the changes better for ourselves, right? But that's also why I like to start off all that heaviness. Sorry, it has been a little bit heavy even in the zodiac readings, just as a heads up. But it's also why I like to start off the readings with an energy cleansing, just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a really good opportunity to set your own intention as well, Leo, especially if you do have something on your heart or mind. Definitely give that over to spirit. Be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. You can also totally skip ahead of the blessing. If it's not your vibe, and you will still receive the blessing. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of a realignment of self, your mind, your body, your soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Because when we are aligned in self, when we are aware of our wants, our needs, our desires, that's when we're tapping into our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. You totally deserve it, and I would love to help support you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up, Leo. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. I am currently working on my website. Hopefully that will be up and running soon, but until then, you can totally shoot me an email. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, spirit guides, guardian angels, mama love. All right, Leo, I'm feeling your energies holding back a little bit this week. Like there's something that maybe you want to say, maybe you want to express, but you're not feeling very confident, or you're not sure how to approach a situation, a dynamic. I kept picking up like tongue-tied. You don't want to get tongue-tied. You want to make sure that when you speak or present yourself, whatever that means for you, that it carries a certain level of confidence, courage. That is the nature of your sign. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. So the book comes in your overarching energy. There might be a little bit more knowledge, information you need to gain before you make any decisions. And perhaps that's where the hesitancy is coming from within yourself. Sometimes when we procrastinate or are hesitant, it's often because there's something that also needs to be uncovered, or we need to kind of connect with, understand, have awareness around in self before we continue pushing forward. Okay, this flask has actually been coming up a lot for us in the zodiac readings as well. And yes, it can represent some type of substance, but it also talks about places that we maybe have unhealthy coping mechanisms, patterns, places that we might self-medicate, etc. And that can be both good and bad, right? Self-medication isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on how we're doing it, right? To what quantity, to what capacity, what intensity, etc. And there might be something that maybe even like be careful to not put yourself in a position where you are drinking too much or something and you say something you shouldn't be saying. That's what I'm hearing for that. But it doesn't have to specifically be related to drinking, especially if you don't drink. It just has that energy, and we'll dive into it a little bit more with the tarot. But it does have this energy of wanting to make something not feel so bad, or wanting to make something a little bit easier for yourself. Wanting to have the courage to do something, but you might even need like a little bit of an ego boost in order to take that action. And it does feel a little bit challenging because in your blocked energy is the empty cup. So this does feel like some grief and sadness, something that you feel like you're missing out on, or you've lost out on, or something that you feel like maybe you can't connect with, or there's a lot of feelings and emotions around. And maybe that's where you're trying to figure out what should be said, if anything should be said, if that's like the right movement forward. I'm interested about this concentric circles because this really does highlight places that patterning comes up in our life. We have a lot of planets in retrograde right now, which help do the same in the way that they highlight places that we're not paying attention to, or that we let get a little bit messier than what they need to. And not good, bad, right, or wrong. It feels like it's a part of karma, the process of your life, the journey of your life, the way that you're healing, growing, evolving, being a better version of yourself. And maybe there needs to be a little bit more discovery into that this week. Looking at situations that you've moved through, that you have lost, that you are lamenting over, that you wish were a part of your life still, or, you know, it does kind of have a very nostalgic component. And, you know, for sure, I get that 100%. What I would say to that also is, if it's not in your life, then it's not in your life for a reason. And maybe you have grown and evolved beyond it. And maybe you haven't even realized that. And perhaps you need to give yourself credit where credit is due. But it seems like that's a little tricky given this context, given the situation, especially because there's a lot attached to this, a lot of feeling and emotion. And of course, leave it to Cancer season to highlight all of that. And like I said, you know, the way the Cancer new moon is presenting, it has a little bit of, it's hitting some raw spaces. It's definitely challenging us because it's about taking accountability for oneself and what you can control. And that can be difficult because when we, I don't know if it's about blaming, or, you know, when we kind of make someone or something else responsible, it still gives this certain feeling of control, like I can change this, or this can be different, etc. And, you know, maybe it can't. Maybe we'll see what the tarot says. I'll stop talking. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more because I can't remember where I left off. But, yeah. I mean, I guess I shouldn't stop talking. Then the video would end. Then the reading. Okay. Let's see. Leo. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. That's really nice. There is an opportunity for new beginnings. They might not be beginnings that you like, or, okay, but it's not bad. Okay. You have an opportunity to change something up. And it does look like it's actually pretty good for you, where you feel motivated based off a difficulty of a dynamic of a situation to step up, to stand in your power, to move forward in a proactive way. It doesn't really feel like you have solid ground underneath you. And I think that that's maybe where that hesitancy, or kind of withholding your energy, holding your energy back, is coming into play for you this week, you're not really doing a lot of, I feel like you're keeping to yourself. I feel like you're really making plans of action for yourself. I feel like you have an opportunity to do so. Because I don't see a lot of movement happening. I don't see a lot of communication happening. Mercury is also in retrograde in Cancer, so we have to also be mindful or careful around the places that communication can be misinterpreted, misunderstood, especially if, but again, I don't really see that conversation is happening. It looks like something has shifted, a dynamic has shifted. And I don't know if you're making a choice about this or if you feel like you need to make a choice about this. Like you need to make a choice that honors you a little bit better. I think you're doing a lot of thinking through for yourself. And I feel like it looks like it's really hard for you to get over something or move beyond something. And maybe this is because of the feedback that you're getting. Because in your environment, something is showing up as being saying like, hey, we can start fresh, we can start over, or this is the opportunity that's in front of you. It's looking a little bit different than maybe what it has looked in the past. The Six of Pentacles is in the blocked energy in your environment. And that really is the value of feeling stable in self. Like there is reciprocity, equal give and take. And maybe things are a little bit lopsided. Perhaps you have to put in more time and effort than what you were even banking on. And so, like I said, whatever you're processing through this week, it comes with a lot of emotion. It comes with a lot of feeling. And I feel like the way that maybe you want, hope, expect people to act, respond, etc., it's not really happening. And so it continues to force you to go back within self. But this also is what Cancer season is about. Our emotions are our guidance system, right, Leo? And we're about to enter into Leo season. And I think it's such a vibrant time for you. You love to let your energy shine bright. And it feels like whatever this is, feels like it's getting in the way to some capacity, or that you're not getting the results that you want. Like there's some disappointment. Like maybe you empower yourself and then there's some disappointment that follows. But at the same time, it also becomes something that's very freeing for you because you start seeing or understanding a dynamic clearly and the reality of something, and you're ready to make choices that better honor yourself. You have the Chariot and the Six of Wands in your energy this week, which is all about doing what's best for you. And yeah, the Chariot is a little bit more confident and secure. And I think that that's how you approach something. You really want to put your best foot forward, exactly what I was talking about channeling through in the very beginning. And you might not be getting the opportunity to do that, or the way it lands with something, it's not hitting in the way that you had hoped or anticipated. And this might be something that you've come into in the past, Leo. And I'm sorry, because it's not a fun energy. It's not an energy. It's an energy of self-discovery on a lot of levels, which I know is kind of annoying, but it makes a lot of sense with the way the Sun, Moon, and Mercury are tensely aspected to Saturn. Saturn is all about working on self to improve, to overcome. Mercury, it's the way we're communicating. It's the way that we're relaying what is going on for us. And it's hard when, yes, I think emotion is very important, but it's also difficult when we're trying to be an empowered version of ourselves. Like having the right amount of emotion is what I'm getting at. And maybe that's not a right way to say it, but like I'm thinking about it in like when something is really close and tender to your heart, it can be easy to get provoked one way or the other. And you being fire energy, it might lead you to a place of saying something you don't really want to say, or reacting in a certain way, or responding in a certain way. And that's where I feel like there's a lot on the fence right now, or this is a time where like maybe discovering the reality of something is going to give you better insight into how you need to take these steps forward to empower yourself. And it might be a little bit of a humbling process. But again, I don't think it's like, I want to say that in the way that it's not a pointing the finger at you. It's a part of your evolution that you need to understand so you can move forward, so you can kind of step into this power that I feel like you're really hesitant about for some reason. Leo. I mean, I can understand why, right? Like, I think that Leo energy is very used to being acknowledged, and you know, you can be front and center. A lot of people gravitate towards you. It is that fire energy. This is all about protecting your energy, though. And it goes back to what I was saying in the emotionality of things, like not letting things get too wound up, or having those phrases that you can say when you're in a dynamic to either shut it down in the way of, if it's getting too wound up, if there's like a lot of heated exchange, or you know it's going down a negative road. Okay, let's talk about this when everyone's settled down. Or, you know what, I'm just going to remove, if someone can't hear that, then just say, okay, I'm going to remove myself. I'll check in with you later. You know, that kind of thing. That is maintaining your power and maintaining your energy, and not allowing someone something to like, it's not taking advantage of. It's just like there's some type of resistance around you. There's some type of unwillingness, and it's because of whatever someone something is thinking about the dynamic. And that's something that they have to work through. Yes, I do think a conversation would bring some clarity and would help, but I don't know that that's going to happen, right? Because it's in the blocked energy. And I don't know. It just feels very, there's two sides of a story. Not everyone is on the same page. Sometimes we do need to look at things through the lens of positivity, which I know isn't always easy. Again, going back to that, like, it's easier to blame. It's easier to point the finger. It's easier to project. But that's where the new moon tensely aspected to Saturn can work in our benefit. When we do acknowledge what's in our control and what we do have power over, that is really where we find our success. And it does look like you have the opportunity for that, but it also looks like some fear or grief, sadness is like clouding that, not allowing you to see that and understand that, i.e. why there's more a need for knowledge and understanding to be gained, insight. Okay, dare to imagine. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like good things. And again, these are energies just for the week or so. So it's not like, you know, take your time, do what you need to do, grieve, feel the sadness, and then allow the goodness to come in after that, right? Feel the sadness and then release, because you have a lot of empowerment working here for you, Leo. And I feel like it's about tapping into it. Yes, I think there are some bumps along the road that you are going to hit, especially pertaining to whatever this is for you, because there is an energy of resistance. Something wants to be in their own head, see it from their own perspective, and there's nothing you can do about that. Yes, okay, conversations, but then we got to make sure that everyone can stay balanced, right? And I'm not sure that can happen right now because of the way it's showing up in the patterning. And perhaps it is just about you making more peace with where things are at given the present circumstances, so that you can actually imagine, or you can start plugging energy into what you want to manifest, what you want to come out of this. Yes, there is some stuff lingering of the challenge of letting go of the past, but I also think that there is a good future in front of you, and that realization in and of itself is going to be very powerful for you as you move through this. Don't ignore your feelings. I think it's not a good thing to do. I think it gets stuck in our body and it creates a lot of disease, illness, etc. You know, so always take care of yourself. Do some breathing techniques, meditate. Those are the best ways to help realign our physiology very quickly. Because I think that you do, whatever this is, you do want to approach it with the love and care and the respect that you have for it. But you also don't want to be giving yourself up, sacrificing yourself for something that's not really going to give back to you. And that's kind of what you're figuring out, seeing where the boundary is. You know, it might be a little bit of a heavy realization, but once you have it, it's going to help things way more moving forward. So I hope this helps. I'm sorry it was a little bit heavy. That's kind of how it's been for all the zodiacs this week. It's a little emotional time of the year, but know that I'm sending love and blessings to your heart always. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below, Leo, if it did. I love to hear, or just say, hey, share in a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support that you bring to the channel. Know that it blesses my heart, and I'm sending love and blessings back to you.